This little notebook will change everything for me, and maybe for you too. Have you ever wanted to start journaling but felt overwhelmed by all the beautiful spreads you see people make online? Maybe you think you can't start until you have 1,000 different pens, washi tapes, and stickers, or you just lose motivation altogether. Don't worry, I was exactly the same, but today everything changes. Hey, I'm Shugi, the artist behind Novita Jewelry and Clay Art, and today I will be starting my journaling journey. I will actually be doing two different types of journaling. First, I'll use this notebook as my travel journal. This year, I'm lucky enough to be visiting a few different countries, but I will also write about all the little adventures like trips to the zoo, museums, or anything that isn't an everyday occurrence. Then I have this smaller notebook that I will carry with me everywhere. I will use it to doodle, write down notes, and keep track of important things. This will be my disconnecting notebook, a place where I can step away from all the digital noise. While I tell you why I think these notebooks will change my life, and maybe yours too, I will also talk about why I'm doing this, the benefits of journaling, and why I'm making a video about it when I usually create other types of crafts. In the meantime, I will be putting together a spread in my travel journal because I just got back from Sicily and I haven't really made any spreads yet. So grab a snack, get cozy, and let's get started. So why am I starting a travel journal and why do I think you should consider it too? At first, I wanted to start a regular journal, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized it just wasn't for me. My days are already so full of things I have to do, and I knew that eventually daily journaling would just start feeling like another task on my to-do list, instead of something I genuinely look forward to. And while there is something beautiful about writing down the little moments in life and appreciating slow, quiet days, I personally wanted to focus on the moments that felt a little different. The adventures, the holidays, the spontaneous day trips, and the memories I never want to lose. Then I had a realization. Every time I travel, I take hundreds of photos. I collect souvenirs and random keepsakes that seem so important in the moment. But honestly, when was the last time I actually looked through my travel photos from years ago? Every 4 to 5 years, I switch to a new phone, I save a handful of my favorite pictures, but the other hundreds or sometimes thousands are left behind. Even the ones that do make it on my new phone just sit there, buried in my camera roll, never to be seen again. Printing every photo isn't realistic either. It costs money, takes time, and I simply don't have the space to store albums full of pictures. But what surprised me the most wasn't the photos. It was realizing how quickly memories fade. I can barely remember what I saw, what I ate, or what I did on holidays from just a year or two ago. I know I had an incredible time, but most of the details have already disappeared. I remember a few random moments so vividly, yet everything in between has slowly slipped away. And honestly, that makes me sad. I've spent thousands of days making memories, exploring new places, laughing with friends and family, trying new foods, and experiencing things I will never get to experience for the first time again. Yet so much of it has already become blurry. I want to remember the little cafes I stumbled into, the meals I couldn't stop talking about, the people I traveled with, the fun things that went wrong, and the moments that made each trip truly unforgettable. Not because every moment was perfect, but because every memory tells a story and reminds me how much fun I truly had. That's why travel journaling just feels so right for me. If I kept a daily journal, I would probably fill hundreds of notebooks over the years, and I know myself well enough to know I would eventually burn out. I'd probably never look through them again, just like the 7,000 photos sitting on my phone that I haven't opened in years. I'm even planning to get one of those tiny photo printers so I can print my favorite pictures and stick them into these pages. Years from now, when the details start to fade, I will have something that brings it all back, not just what those places looked like, but how they felt. Because one day, when I'm older, I want to sit down with these journals, turn each page, and remember the life I lived, the places I explored, the food I loved, the people who shared those moments with me, the stories that would have otherwise been forgotten. I actually started this travel journal about 2 weeks ago. The very first page is a little sentimental introduction, and after that I made a spread about the Night of the Museums, an annual event here in Hungary where museums all over the country stay open late, organize special exhibitions, fun activities, and unique guided tours. The best part is that one ticket gives you access to as many participating museums as you can fit into that evening. I hadn't been in a few years, so I was really excited to experience it again. That night I received this journal as a gift, and somehow it felt like the perfect sign. I decided it was finally time to start mindfully collecting memories instead of letting them quietly fade away. My first two spreads definitely aren't perfect. They are not the most aesthetic pages you will ever see, and honestly, I'm completely okay with that. I don't want the pressure of writing beautifully or creating the most Pinterest-worthy journal every time. I want this to feel natural. Some pages will be colorful and detailed, others will be simple, messy, or maybe even a little ugly. Because at the end of the day, it's my journal. No one else gets to decide what belongs in it. Something else I noticed almost immediately was how much my mindset started to change. While I was in Italy, and even on little outings closer to home, I found myself looking for tiny things I could include in my journal. Stickers, napkins, tickets, postcards, business cards, little pieces of packaging, even random bits and pieces that I would normally walk straight past or throw away without a second thought. Before this, I always felt like I had to bring home a big souvenir from every trip. If I didn't, I sometimes felt disappointed, like I was missing out. And honestly, that's such a privileged, unhealthy way of thinking. Why should I fill my home with objects that will eventually end up tucked away in a drawer, sitting on a shelf that I barely look at? My problem is that I love way too many things, so I'm not saying I will never buy souvenirs again. If I find something I genuinely love or something I actually will use, I will absolutely bring it home. But on this trip, the only large and honorable souvenirs I came back with were a beautiful handmade notebook, which I already showed you earlier, and it was a gift from my parents, and I will talk more about that later, and a tiny ceramic tortoise. The tortoise was an easy choice because I actually have 4 pet tortoises, and I've slowly started collecting little ceramic tortoises wherever I come across one. My collection is still quite small, but it's growing. I mostly just collected train tickets, boarding passes, business cards, food wrappers, tiny seashells, napkins, all the small, seemingly insignificant pieces that tell the story of the trip. And for the first time, I didn't feel even slightly disappointed about not buying something bigger, because instead of searching for souvenirs, I was searching for memories and little tiny pieces to put in my journal. Now, I'm not saying that buying lots of souvenirs or expensive ones is a bad thing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that if it makes you happy. But I realized I developed a pretty unhealthy relationship with buying things everywhere I went. I felt like I had to come home with something, or the trip somehow wasn't complete. Surprisingly, journaling has already started to change that. I've also noticed that it makes me so much more observant. I pay closer attention to little details that I probably would have walked right past before. The architecture, the colors, the sounds of a place, the local costumes, and all the tiny moments that make somewhere feel unique. It also encourages me to slow down. Instead of rushing from one attraction to the next, I find myself appreciating where I am, wherever I'm writing or sketching, simply thinking about what I want to remember later. It makes me feel much more present in the moment. And of course, it's incredibly creative. I love the idea of combining writing with little sketches, tickets, maps, stickers, receipts, and all these tiny treasures I collect along the way. It turns every page into something completely unique. One thing I really love about travel journaling is that there isn't a right or wrong way to do it. Some people make junk journals with little writing, others mostly write, while some people just sketch instead. Personally, I will probably end up somewhere in the middle, which I think is the most common approach. I want to combine all of those styles while still writing enough to remember the details. So I will be collecting tickets, maps, napkins, business cards, and other little keepsakes. I will add doodles, washi tapes, stickers, and photos, but I also make sure I have enough room to write about my experiences. Right now I'm keeping it very simple. A blue pen, some glue, a few rolls of washi tapes, and I don't even have stickers. I just printed some pictures with my home printer from Canva, and I would love to use markers too, but the paper is way too thin in this notebook, so they will just breathe through the pages. I'm also trying not to spend too much money on this hobby until I know it's something I will genuinely stick with. I did make one little promise to myself though. If I manage to fill this entire journal and still love doing it, I will reward myself with a nice fountain pen. Another thing I've learned is that I prefer taking quick notes throughout the day, just a few bullet points or keywords so I don't forget anything important. Then once I'm back at the hotel, apartment, or I just arrive home, I can sit down and write everything out properly. And after longer trips, especially if I couldn't bring all the stationery I would like, I can decorate my journal pages when I get home, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. I know some people love journaling while they're sitting in a cafe or on the train, and I think that looks incredibly cozy, but for me that feels a little too hectic. I would rather stay present, enjoy the experience while I'm there, and then relive that later throughout my journal. One thing that really surprised me was that I couldn't find any nice local stickers in Italy while I was traveling. I generally thought there would be loads of them. So once I got home, I printed a few decent quality pictures I found on Canva and turned them into my own little stickers. Cutting them all out took forever, but I think it was worth it. During the trip, I was still taking notes on my phone, but about 2 days before we came home from Italy, my mom gave me this beautiful handmade notebook as a gift. It was made by a local artist using recycled wallpaper and fabric for the cover. What a great idea! I would love to try making some as well. And it has this gorgeous ivory paper from Florence inside. As I mentioned it earlier, this is going to be a so-called disconnecting notebook. And I truly believe this little notebook could change everything for me. Starting today, I'm doing a 30-day challenge where instead of reaching for my phone and mindlessly doomscrolling, I will open this little notebook instead. I will write down my thoughts, make little doodles, jot down ideas, plan my week, write a to-do list, and anything that comes to my mind. But this notebook has another purpose too. It's going to help me find my perfectionism. I'm going to do my absolute best not to care whether my handwriting looks pretty, whether my doodles are good enough, or whether even every page is useful. I'm finally going to let myself use a beautiful notebook. For years I've collected notebooks because they were too nice to write in. I was afraid of ruining them or making the first page imperfect, so they ended up sitting untouched on a shelf. And honestly, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of being afraid to use the things I love. So this little notebook is my promise to myself that I will stop waiting for perfection and just start creating. I will definitely keep you updated throughout videos. Alongside my usual crafting videos, where I make jewelry and clay creations, I would love to share my journal with me videos, updates on this challenge and other fun little experiments that I come up with along the way. I originally started this YouTube channel to start supporting my small business and share the products I make, but somewhere along the way I realized I also wanted to be a place where I can simply enjoy creating, share my experiences, and maybe even inspire someone else to start the hobby they have been putting off. If that's you, I hope this video gives you a little push. If you enjoy watching, I would really appreciate if you left a like and subscribe to the channel. It genuinely helps support both me and my small business. And if you would like to support me even further, feel free to check out my online shop, where I sell my handmade jewelry and clay creations. In the future, I would also love to expand into other things like stickers, stationery, clay cutters, maybe plushies, or plenty of other creative projects, so there is a lot more to come. And as a little thank you for watching, the first 5 people who purchase any 2 items from my shop can get 15% of their entire order by using the coupon code that's on screen right now. I know it's a bit of a shameless plug, but as a small creator, every bit of support truly means the world to me. In the meantime, here is my finished journal spread. What do you think? I might have had to blur out a few things for privacy reasons, but I hope you enjoyed watching me put it together. If enough people are interested, I would love to make a video about how to start journaling on a budget, so let me know if that's something you would like to see. And if this video inspired you to start journaling, or if you already keep a journal, I would absolutely love to hear about it in the comments. Tell me what kind of journal you have or what your favorite part of journaling is. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Stay safe and I will see you in the next one. Bye!